All right, and we are live. Pretty sure this is our first one, our first inaugural episode of the Lone Star Plate wrap-up show. We're just going to be going over this week's episodes that we released and briefly talk about the episodes we have coming out next week. So answering any questions, things like that. We're going to start doing this every week, basically, either Thursday or Friday. I don't know. We thought I'd try Friday this week and see how that works. So again, we're just basically going over the week's episodes, giving a little more insight about those episodes, any behind the scenes details, and going over next week's episodes that we have coming up. So, okay, let's get started. I'm going to jump into this. Our first episode we released this week was Dan Piraro. So he is a famous cartoonist, does the BIZARRO cartoons you see online. He's been doing one cartoon a day for 30 years. I haven't done anything every day once for 30 years. You know what I mean? Except maybe go to the bathroom, I guess, or sleep. Even that, I've skipped sleep. I've skipped the bathroom. So yeah, that's called discipline, commitment. Anyway, he was a great guy. I got to say, it's one of my favorite episodes I've ever done, to be honest with you. Over 150 episodes on the Lone Star Plate. And God, he was just so inspiring. That's what was cool about him. I just really enjoyed his feedback, his insight on everything. So I recommend checking out his other stuff. He has a graphic novel called Peyote Cowboy. He just sort of releases, bits of it at a time. Super cool. So I would definitely look into more of Dan Peraro for sure. He does art. He just does all kinds of other cool stuff. But that podcast is just very particular because there's not many interviews of him like that. So that's what his fans are saying. So that's cool. So definitely check it out. And I know people that contacted me like, dude, I never heard of this guy. This was awesome. And then they check out his art, right? So I guess that's the idea of a podcast. You sort of check out, maybe you hear about somebody you didn't know about, right? I don't know. I guess there's two kinds of podcast listeners too, right? Somebody you'll only listen to somebody you recognize and you're willing to take a chance. I'm the take a chance type of guy. I'm very adventurous, right? It's like you got to have a bad meal to have the good ones, right? So same sort of thing. Maybe you got to go through some bad podcast guests to get to the good one. So anyway, yeah, that was cool. Dan Peraro was cool. So, and then the episode we released today was a little late. Came out a day late because, well, we just had a lot of work to do on it. To be honest with you, it's like the longest podcast episode we've had. It's almost 3 hours. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's crazy. 3 hours. Why? Well, I drank tequila. Okay. I drank tequila. Not something I like to do on the podcast. I don't think it's fair to the guests or to listeners and viewers that are watching. Like if I get, drunk, but this was particular, right? Alex Reymundo is a comedian / tequila, co-owner with Ron White, right? They own Number Juan Tequila and he's come on before. It's one of our best episodes we've done. Definitely one of the most popular as far as downloads goes and views, it's through the roof. And yeah, so of course we brought him back on. We had a great time. And of course it's like, yeah, let's drink tequila again. Which I guess every time he comes on, I'm going to have to drink tequila. Seems like that's going to be the rule, which to be honest, I'm cool with if it's just very rare. Right. I couldn't do it every time because honestly, I forgot the last hour. I don't even remember what happens in the episode the last hour. I'm afraid to watch it. I don't really watch the episodes to be honest with you guys afterwards. I mean, I live them. Okay. So anyway, yeah, he was super cool this time. Just like it was last time, hilarious. We did this like tequila trivia thing in the episode, which was really cool to see. Hey, people, celebrities buy all kinds of stuff, right? They own all kinds of companies. You never know what they're getting into, or they may not know what they're getting into. And you as a fan of theirs may be like, dude, why is this guy, it's like Paul Newman salad dressing, right? Like what? Paul Newman has a salad dressing? Quite popular. Okay. I guess the guy knows a lot about salad dressing, or does he? So that's what I did to Alex. Hey, let's find out. Does he actually know about tequila or just, getting some company and wants to get drunk? No, the dude knows his tequila. Okay. Like pretty intensely, to be honest with you. I threw out some really tough questions and he got them right. So that was cool. That was cool to see how much he actually knows about tequila. So look, I'm a fan of that tequila, number one tequila. It's delicious. And they skip the añejo, which is a very rare thing to do in tequila. That's like usually a top seller. They go to extra añejo. They just go for that, give it to me all, the extreme, and I like that, right? Their tequila goes to 11. Spinal Tap joke, right? There you go. You know what? He could use that. They should use that. My tequila goes to 11. Anyway, my tequila goes to extra añejo. So, God, that's a horrible Spinal Tap impression. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, regardless of the podcast, check out that tequila for sure. I highly recommend it. Number one tequila. So. Ooh, okay, Alex Raymundo. Yeah, man. Oh, you know what else he did? Okay, I got to talk about this. Okay, the first time he came on, there was quite a controversy about what he said about Carlos Mencia. Okay, that's just the truth. We have a clip of it. It went viral. It's got hundreds of comments. People going back and forth about if Carlos stole, he didn't steal. You know how comments go on YouTube. It takes on a life of its own. I don't even get involved in that stuff, guys. I do not get involved in the comments. I'm not about to get in there. I just like to see the engagement, good or bad. It brings out an emotion, makes you want to leave a comment. That's a big deal. It takes a lot for people to leave a comment. So anyway, I could tell, okay, this is an emotional clip. And so what ends up happening? God, I don't want to spoil it. Well, you know what? This is what the wrap-up show is for. What am I talking about? You've seen the episode. This is why you're doing. If you haven't, spoilers, okay? Basically, Alex talks about, hooking back up with Carlos because of our podcast. So because of our podcast, Carlos Mencia reached out to Alex and over the phone, and he tells a funny story of how that happened. It's actually quite hilarious. So listen to the episode for that. Or if you did already, you know what I'm talking about. But thought that was cool. You never know who's listening to the podcast, right? You never know who's a fan. I never know. And I don't really like to think about it, to be honest with you. I just like to do the episodes and, I don't think about that so much, right? Who could be watching. Look, I just give y'all the best that I can. I try to have the best conversation I can with the person in front of me because I know that will translate to a good podcast episode. That's really all I focus on. And sometimes I get lost in that. And that can be a good thing, like a singer on the stage that gets lost in the moment. That happens to me in podcasting. I forget that I'm podcasting. I just am talking to this person. And those are the best episodes. And that happens with Alex, without a doubt. And that definitely happened with Dan Piraro as well. Absolutely. Alex is a regular now. Dan will become a regular for sure. Super enjoyed talking to him. So anyway. All right. So that was the episodes we had this week. We have some awesome episodes coming out next week. I highly recommend it. Alex actually recommended a couple of ladies who own a company here in Dallas called Frankie Ray. So I interviewed them. We got them coming on, or that episode coming out, in a few weeks. So that'll be cool. But that's what the podcast does, right? People, you make connections, you get to other guests through them, that sort of thing. They sort of turn you on to somebody else. Hey, I had a great conversation with you. You know what? You should talk to so-and-so. Bam. Networking. So if you're trying to start a podcast, just a little advice for you there. All right. So next week's guest, look, we're going to keep these wrap-up shows sort of short, not too long. Next week's guest. Ooh, these are great episodes. We got Stephen Tobolowsky making his second appearance. Stephen came on October-ish last year. I think it was October. And told what I'm now seeing is one of the greatest Stevie Ray Vaughan stories ever told before. Okay, imagine that. One of the greatest Stevie Ray Vaughan stories ever told, the legend, on our podcast. Okay, let that sink in for you. It did for me. I was like, ah. Now, when I asked the question, did I know that was going to happen? Absolutely not. And in fact, if you want to know the truth, when I asked Stephen Toboloski that question, and by the way, check out that clip. Stephen Tobolovsky recounts. It's the very first recording of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and Stephen Tobolovsky was there. So he tells that story, and it's amazing. And anyway, that video as well, tons of comments, tons of engagement. Just read it. You'll see, if you're a Stevie Ray Vaughan fan and you have not heard that story yet, you need to. It's unbelievable. But the truth is, I almost didn't even ask that question. That's the truth. I almost didn't even ask him that question. Before the interview started with Stephen Tobolovsky, I have notes like this and I have things ready to go and blah, blah, blah before. I actually do research, okay, guys? For the guest I'm going to have on. It may not seem like it when I'm doing it, but I promise you I do. Then I take the Mr. Bean approach when the episode starts, right? Like, whatever, act aloof. But anyway, so I did my research, but right before I was looking at Wikipedia before the interview started, and I saw that little bit that something about Stevie Ray Vaughan. So I just asked him, and like I said, it turned into one of the greatest stories we've had on our podcast. So of course we brought him back on. And this is Stephen Tobolovsky, this is Ned from Groundhog Day, Memento. You could go down the list. He was named the 9th most recognizable person in television and movies. That's crazy. You see his face, you're like, oh, dude, I've seen that guy in everything. And he has been in everything. Almost 280 acting credits on IMDb. Dude, that's nuts. If you know or don't know, that's a lot. Okay, we look at that. I look at that stuff a lot for research, whatever, blah, blah. That's a lot. That's a lot of work. I promise you. That is a ton of work. The guy has put in the time, and for good reason. I will say this. Stephen Tobolovsky is one of the greatest storytellers I've ever heard. That is the truth. And this episode next week that's coming out with him, it's unbelievable. He, again, just tells stories where I'm just hanging on every word. I know you will too. Yeah, he told a story he's never told before again. He gave a little more insight about the Stevie Ray Vaughan clip as well. He shows the album, shows the picture of Stevie Ray Vaughan at 14 years old, okay, with Stephen Tobolovsky right next to him. Super cool. I mean, it's just like, what? Yeah, crazy. It was awesome. And then the other guest we're having is Raul Castillo. Okay, he's co-starring right now in Army of the Dead. It's on Netflix. You can watch it literally right now on Netflix. And he plays Guzman in the movie, the guy with the blonde hair that you see in the trailer that he's shooting the gun sideways. We got that guy on. He's from Texas. He's from McAllen, Texas. That guy's going to be a star. I know he's kind of already a star, okay, but that guy's got some. That was a great interview. He was super cool to talk to. And the movie's phenomenal. Army of the Dead is unbelievable. I loved it. His character is amazing in it. And dude, I'm telling you, he's nothing like that person. He is such a good actor. You really, like, when I'm interviewing, I was like, dude, you are, it's like, wow, you are nothing like the characters that I watched you in, to prepare for this. He's also in Guy Ritchie's movie, Wrath of Man, that's out right now. So he's co-starring in 2 movies that are out in the theaters right now with unbelievable directors, Zack Snyder and Guy Ritchie. What? Yeah. It's like, that's what do we say? That's living the dream right there. So look, check out those 2 movies. The interview's awesome. We don't give any spoilers in the interview. I never know whether or not to do that. Yeah, I sort of leave it up to the person. Sometimes I'll spoil it accidentally. I guess I just don't decide. There should always be a spoiler alert on a Lone Star Plate podcast interview, because I don't know what's going to come out of this mouth. So anyway, yeah, 2 good episodes coming out next week. I mean, super solid. We've had some great interviews, great stuff lined up. There's way more great interviews coming out. We're just talking to some really great people. So really excited. Please, and if you guys have an idea for a guest or somebody you want to have on, email me, Patrick at Texas Real Food. I'll listen, or message me. I do get a lot of messages. Oh, dude, did y'all see that? I just spilled my coffee everywhere. Oh my God, live. See, we do this live. This is not fake. Oh, I really wanted that coffee. That's twice I've done this on a podcast where I spilt my whole coffee. Well, that's that. Yeah. So Boy, that just threw me off. Well, okay. Goodbye, coffee. God, really, I'm waiting for that espresso. It's like, I just want that so bad. But anyway, yes, email me, Patrick at Texas Real Food, or message me online or message the podcast online. If you have somebody you think would be cool to have on. And please don't tell me, look, don't take offense, but don't tell me like your neighbor, Jim, okay, who plays guitar or who had a band once. I get it. It's probably a cool dude. Okay, makes you laugh on ping pong night in the neighborhood. Not for the podcast. Okay. Think of people who've done a little something. Okay. Got a little success under the belt. They're from Texas. They're doing something interesting. They have a project coming out. Something we would like to see, right? Something that a lot of people would like to see or hear. I'm not saying they have to be a celebrity because that sounds pretentious. And who am I? I'm nobody. So whatever. But somebody interesting, somebody really who, got a nice story there. We can tell something. So yes, please let us know. All right. Well, for me, I think that's it, guys. This was a great, we'll keep doing this every week. I'll try to bring on some friends if I can, to, give some more feedback and, add to it and that sort of thing. Maybe we'll start doing like, chats and reading that sort of thing and going with it. I'm not too familiar with that stuff, so we'll just work on it. So this is just the first episode of doing this and wrapping up, the episodes we released this week and then talking about the episodes we got coming out next week. And, just giving more insight, more detail, more behind the scenes, that sort of stuff. Maybe you want to start a podcast. Maybe you're curious about podcasting. This is a good way to learn watching this wrap-up show, to be honest with you. And if you have any questions about that sort of stuff, I don't know, ask. We'll tell you what equipment we're using, what we do for this, what we do for that. No problem. It's a lot of trial and error, to be honest with you. Everybody does something different. So, but, all right. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Again, this is on YouTube only. Wrap-up show on YouTube only. I would say join me next Thursday. I'm going to start doing on Thursdays because, guys, I want to go out on Friday. Okay, y'all? Please, let me go out. Let me celebrate. Just like y'all. So let's meet on Thursdays, 7:30 p.m. every Thursday, okay? Central Time, Texas time. That's what I'm going to start saying, Texas time. So we'll see you next Thursday, 7:30. Please check out the episodes coming out with Raul Castillo and Stephen Toboloski. All right, guys, until next time, from Dallas, Texas, I'm Patrick, the Lone Star Plate Podcast. See you next time.